Picture this. You've spent your entire life savings, or maybe your family has invested its every last dime to send you halfway across the world. You arrive in Canada, land of endless opportunity, breathtaking landscapes, and prestigious colleges. You feel a rush of excitement. This is the place everyone talks about, the golden ticket for a better future. But what if, beneath that shiny surface, the reality is far different than what you've been told? Could the Canadian college dream for international students be little more than a glorified illusion, or worse, a carefully orchestrated scam? Canada has long marketed itself as a top destination for higher education. Prestigious research universities, bustling metropolitan hubs, and a reputation for multicultural inclusivity attract tens of thousands of international students annually. According to data published by Immigration, Refugees and Citizenship Canada, IRCC, in 2022 alone, well over 500,000 study permits were in force, a number that continues to rise each year. But while the brochures portray a land of academic and cultural abundance, social media platforms, from Reddit threads to YouTube comment sections, are teeming with cautionary tales. Many international students discover that, after shelling out exorbitant tuition fees and living expenses, the path to a good job or a stable life in Canada is anything but guaranteed.
Tuition for this New Yorker attending college in Canada, close to $20,000 a year for courses that are all online. Rent for his shared basement apartment, additional $12,000 a year.
Nowadays, most people my generation that I speak to, none of us really have any expectation of actually owning a home.
Some call it a scam, though that might sound dramatic at first glance. Still, when you dig deeper into the experiences shared online, the word scam starts to feel less like hyperbole and more like a fair warning. YouTube channels, particularly those run by international student advocacy groups, have compiled interviews with graduates who struggle to find jobs even remotely related to their fields of study. On Reddit, entire threads are dedicated to dissecting the mismatch between Canadian colleges' marketing claims and the harsh realities of job prospects for international graduates. College brochures boast impressive employment rates post-graduation, showcasing success stories of alumni who land lucrative jobs in Canada's booming tech or healthcare sectors. The promised path often goes like this. You graduate, secure a well-paying job, and then qualify for permanent residence through one of Canada's immigration streams. This narrative is repeated in college marketing materials, on official websites, and by educational consultants who recruit students from all corners of the globe. However, many students fail to notice the fine print, or worse, it's never presented to them in the first place. For instance, some colleges cleverly reference employment rates that combine both local and international graduates, or they cite industry partnerships that may exist only on paper. In other cases, partnerships exist, but they offer limited internships with fierce competition, leaving most international students scrambling for alternatives. On popular social media sites, you'll find allegations that educational consultants, who often receive a commission for each student they place, play a significant role in perpetuating this narrative. These agents can be found in countries from India and Nigeria to Mexico and Brazil, painting a rosy picture of Canadian opportunities, while failing to mention the oversized tuition fees, the sky-high cost of living in major cities like Toronto and Vancouver, and the complicated postgraduate work permit requirements. To understand why so many call the process a scam, you have to look at some hard numbers. 1. Tuition fees. According to Statistics Canada, international students pay, on average, nearly 3 to 4 times the tuition of domestic students. For example, while a domestic student might pay around 7,000 to 9,000 Canadian dollars a year in tuition, an international student can easily fork over 20,000 to 30,000 Canadian dollars, or more, depending on the program and institution. 2. Cost of living. Major Canadian cities are notoriously expensive. The average monthly rent in Toronto for a one-bedroom apartment can hover around 2,200 Canadian dollars or more. Combine that with utilities, food, textbooks, and other essential costs, and you might find yourself burning through savings at a frightening rate. 3. Job market. While Canada does have skill shortages in specific sectors like nursing or certain trades, the competition for white-collar jobs in fields like business, marketing, or even IT can be intense. Many recruiters prefer candidates with local experience or permanent residency status, placing newly graduated international students at a disadvantage. 4. Underemployment. Stories abound of international graduates working in retail, food service, and gig economy jobs just to make ends meet after finishing expensive programs. While there's no shame in honest work, many of these graduates feel misled when the reality of job scarcity hits them, especially after they've invested tens of thousands of dollars in what was supposed to be a career-building education.
And I live in a one-bedroom apartment, and my rent is $1,700 per month.
From places like Costco, getting meals prepared for the full week at a time, even trying not to go out and spend anything at all.
One former marketing student from Sunshine College admits, "I finished my 2-year diploma, but the only position I could land was at a small cafe, working 15 to 20 hours a week, serving lattes just to cover rent and groceries." One trending Reddit post described how, after completing a 2-year diploma in marketing, the author could only find part-time work at a cafe. Another person shared their story of being led to believe that a 1-year postgraduate certificate would automatically translate to a 1-year work permit, which, in their case, wasn't enough time to find a job relevant to their field. These first-hand accounts underscore that, despite hefty tuition and high hopes, many international graduates find themselves trapped in service sector roles far removed from their fields of study. "College gave me theoretical knowledge, but zero industry connections," one user lamented in a popular YouTube video. Another student said they were convinced by an educational consultant to choose a course entirely unrelated to their background simply because it was cheaper. "Now I'm stuck with a diploma I don't care about and job prospects that are basically nil." These testimonials often attract thousands of comments from other students in similar predicaments, creating a virtual chorus of frustration and regret. Many say if they had known the true state of affairs, they would have reconsidered taking out massive loans or depleting their family's savings to fund a Canadian education. Here's the crux of it. Canadian colleges and universities are not necessarily lying outright. They're showcasing the best-case scenarios, highlighting the success stories, and tapping into the aspirations of hopeful students worldwide. Yet, the entire system seems engineered to cast as wide a net as possible, often without providing a transparent look at the real job market or the true barriers international graduates face. To call it a scam might seem extreme after all. Students do attend real classes, earn legitimate diplomas or degrees, and have the potential to secure jobs. But the line between savvy marketing and deceptive practice can blur when institutions and their partner agencies fail to disclose critical information. It becomes particularly questionable when schools actively rely on skyrocketing international fees to bolster their budgets, effectively turning international students into a lucrative revenue stream. The Canada of just a few years ago, renowned for steady job growth, affordable housing relative to income, and an open arbitrage labor market, is rapidly losing its shine. Unemployment, stuck at 6.6%, barely budges despite aggressive policy measures. Rents are surging more than 8% a year, routinely topping $2,000 in major centers. And even full-time wages, now averaging $1,291 weekly, struggle to keep pace with spiraling living costs. The consequence? What was once lauded as a stable middle-class haven has morphed into a high-risk environment, especially for those banking on part-time work or post-graduation employment to justify sky-high tuition and relocation expenses. The economy's resilience has frayed, inflationary pressure outstrips earnings growth, housing markets remain overheated, and job openings skew toward sectors that rarely absorb international grads. In short, the golden promise of Canada's opportunity economy is under siege. If you're weighing the cost of study permits and student loans against a landscape of stubborn unemployment and crushing housing costs, this data suggests that the Canada of today may not deliver the secure footing it once did. Proceeding without this reality check isn't just risky, it's a gamble few can afford to lose. So, here's the raw truth, unfiltered, no brochure gloss. The Canada you've heard about, the one in Instagram reels and agency flyers, it's changing, fast, and not in your favor. Today, international students aren't walking into a land of boundless opportunity. They're stepping into a tightening job market, rent traps, and a system that quietly profits from their struggle. The dream still sells. But what's delivered? That's a different story. If you're thinking of making the leap, make it with eyes wide open. Not just with hope, but with a plan, backup cash, and a full understanding that this isn't 2015 Canada anymore. Because once you're in, the system doesn't stop to check if you're drowning. It just keeps moving.